All right. So the project that we're going to be working on is based on this book called No Tooth, No Quarter. What do you think it's about?
The Tooth Fairy.
Y'all so smart. Y'all so smart.
I know,
All right. So, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. 2 tooth fairies were sitting on a branch. The small one was reading her report card. Dog tooth, F. Vampire teeth, F. Cracked tooth with fillings, F. All F's again, she wailed. Her friend patted her on the back. Don't worry, she said to the little tooth fairy. You'll find a good tooth soon. I'd better. If I don't find a perfect tooth tonight, Queen Dentina will take away my wings and I'll be grounded. And I won't get to go to the tooth decay prevention ball. So the little tooth fairy flew off to look for the perfect tooth. Soon, she came to a schoolyard where there were kids playing dodgeball. Think fast, Walter. A girl threw the ball at a boy in the middle. What do you think happens?
His tooth falls out.
We'll see. Walter jumped out of the way. Missed, he shouted. But as he landed, he tripped and he fell over a rock. Oh dear, gasped the tooth fairy. I hope he didn't hurt himself. Look! Walter picked himself up, grinning. My tooth fell out. He held it up and then he put it in his pocket. This goes under my pillow tonight. At last, whispered the tooth fairy. This is my lucky day. I'll follow him home after school. And that is just what she did. She waited outside his house until dark, and she watched the lights go out one by one.
One by one.
Soon there was nothing but a soft glow coming from one window. It was Walter's window. The tooth fairy flew in. She squeezed under Walter's pillow and she felt around. But all she found was a letter. The letter said, Dear Tooth Fairy, today my tooth fell out. I put it in my pocket, but my pocket had a hole in it. I lost my tooth. I hope you can leave me a quarter anyway. My mother says to tell you I've been a good boy. Yours truly, Walter. No tooth, cried the tooth fairy. Oh, no. She flew up to Walter's chin. Maybe he has another one that's ready to come out. She grabbed one of Walter's teeth and gave it a big yank. Hey, cried Walter. He sat up in bed. Wow, it's the tooth fairy. Did you get my letter? She nodded. But I can't leave you a quarter, Walter. Our first rule is no tooth, no quarter. And Queen Dentina is very, very strict. Then the little tooth fairy started to cry. Oh, this was my last chance to find a perfect tooth. Now Queen Dentina will take away my wings. But that's not fair, Walter said. It isn't your fault I lost my tooth. Why don't you just explain that to her? You don't know Queen Dentina, said the tooth fairy. I'm really scared of her. Well, I'm not, said Walter. I'll tell her. All right, said the tooth fairy. I'll try anything. And she waved her wand at Walter. Whoosh! He was as small as she was. Wow, said Walter. Come on, said the tooth fairy. She grabbed Walter's hand and they flew right out the open window. They zipped down to a hole at the bottom of the tree. They flew through the long winding tunnel under the ground. At last they came out in Tooth Fairyland. This is an underground world, gasped Walter. Isn't it beautiful, asked the Tooth Fairy. We grow all of our own food here, and we make all of our own clothes. The only thing we need from you are your teeth for our houses. Walter looked at the gleaming white houses. They were made of bricks, little white bricks, and little fairies were everywhere polishing them with toothbrushes. The bricks are teeth, cried Walter. I always wondered what you did with them.
That isn't true.
Sit down. Well, here we are, said the Tooth Fairy. This is where Queen Dentina lives. The Ivory Palace. They went through the gates. Inside the palace was a long At last they came to the throne room, and there was Queen Dentina, sitting on her palace of teeth. I need all eyes up here and all mouths closed. All eyes up here. Thank you. What is this? Cried Queen Dentina. A boy?
A boy?
This is Walter, said the Tooth Fairy. He lost his tooth. We don't want him, said the Queen. We want his tooth. She means I can't find my tooth that fell out, explained Walter. It's disappeared, but really I did lose one. You can see the hole, see? And Walter opened his mouth to point to show the Queen. Ah! Yelled Queen Dentina. I suppose you put the tooth in your pocket. Well, yes, said Walter. And your pocket had a hole in it. Well, yes, said Walter. And now you want a quarter anyway. Do you think you can get something from nothing? Out of my sight, she said. All right, he said. I just wanted to tell you it wasn't the Tooth Fairy's fault. And he turned to go. Wait! Shouted Queen Dentina. What beautiful purple pajamas. Oh, those would be just what I need for the decay prevention ball. I'll give you 25 cents for the pajamas and we'll forget about the tooth. I am not that crazy, said Walter. These pajamas probably cost $10. And besides, I would catch a cold. Stop! She cried. I want those pajamas. Seize him, she told the guards. Walter ran. The little Tooth Fairy ran too, and the tooth soldiers chased after them. In the distance, Walter could hear Queen Dentina screaming, Get those purple pajamas!
Get those purple pajamas!
Then the Tooth Fairy caught Walter's hand, and up they flew. They went through the tunnel, back out the hole in the tree, and back in the open window. Walter was big again, and he was in his own room, and he was still wearing his pajamas. The Tooth Fairy looked glum, and a little tear rolled down her cheek. She cried. Hey, said Walter, what's the matter? You made it. You saved me. But what about me? Cried the Tooth Fairy. I can't go home now. Oh, I have an idea. You can move in with us. My parents are really nice. Ah, cried the Tooth Fairy. All right, said Walter. Let me think. Oh, I know, he said. Where are my scissors? And he opened the desk drawer. Here they are. I'm much bigger now, right? The Tooth Fairy nodded. And my pajamas are bigger too, right? And the Tooth Fairy nodded. Well, watch this. And he snipped the inside of the pocket of his pajamas. And he handed it to the Tooth Fairy. It was as big as she was. Do you think that will make Queen Dentina happy? The Tooth Fairy grinned. It's perfect. Thank you so much. Walter climbed back into bed. Will you wake me up the next time you come for one of my teeth? He asked sleepily. Sure, said the Tooth Fairy. Only try not to lose it before I get here next time. It's a deal, said Walter. Then he fell fast asleep. He didn't see the Tooth Fairy tap her wand under his pillow. The next morning, he found a quarter there. As for the little Tooth Fairy, she had a wonderful time at the decay prevention ball, and Queen Dentina gave her all A's